it's my testimony that God knows every person individually. He knows what they're struggling with and, what they're going through and what is best for them to move forward. So I have found that there's not a single prescription, that God is intimate in that way, which I think is one of the most profound aspects of coming to know God, is to know that he knows you individually. But I also love studying the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so for me, I could spend all my free time doing that, literally all of it, and do almost nothing else.
If God revealed himself to you in a vision tonight and said, Luke, it's all not true, how would you react?
Did I have a chance to talk to him?
No.
That's just, he showed up, said that, and left. And said, what is not true? All of it's not true? Like he is not God? Or like
the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as you've known it for your whole life, is not true.
And then didn't give me any further instruction.
Yeah, how would you handle that?
Well,
speaking a hard one.
Yeah, no, that's a hard question. I would definitely reassess my belief system. And then I would probably, through prayer, which I know God answers, reach out to him, try and receive personal revelation around what did that message mean. One of the ways that I've been taught to identify a heavenly messenger is that when that messenger comes, they will give you further knowledge and light and knowledge or understanding of God's gospel. So if he just showed up and was like, it's not true, and left, and just like put doubt and didn't teach me anything further, I might question that was a divine experience. So, I'm not sure I agree with the premise of the question. I don't know that premise is actually possible, because I also believe in some particular ways in which if one is going to meet God face to face, things will transpire. And, scripturally, I don't know that holds true for me in the way in which you painted him showing up. So it's like, I would question a lot of things if he just showed up and was like, hey, it's all false. And then poof, he was gone.
Let's say he stayed.
Okay.
And you could ask him some questions and spend 5 or 10 minutes with him really trying to understand. How would that conversation look?
Well, one of the things I've always wanted is called the grand vision. So this has happened to a lot of ancient prophets, where they see from the beginning to the end. So if I could, if God would indulge me in that would be my first ask probably, is I would love to see the grand vision. I would love to know from the beginning to the end, because then I wouldn't even have to have a conversation.
Yeah.
It'd be done.
Yeah.
I would know how it started and where it was going and what the purpose was and how everything shaped.
And why you showed up that night.
Yeah, all of it. Right? So like that would be my first. If he was like, it's premature for the grand vision, you can ask me 5 questions, right? Then I would probably ask, first off, a question about religion and its prescriptions. And if it's, what he wants, then how am I to go about worshiping thee? That's what I would probably ask first. In an ideal scenario, how am I to go about worshiping thee? And then he would have to lay that out, through prayer, through scripture study. These are, if it was through church or ordinance or covenant or whatever, then I would know, more fully how that was to be. Second question I would probably ask is, what's the best way for me to move my family and friends to salvation? Because I care. Deeply about all of them. My family and my friends. So I would want to know, what's the best way for me to help them to receive all that you have to give them?
Have you asked him that before?
Yeah, a lot.
And
he's given me a lot of answers.
Yeah. What's the cliff notes?
I mean, it's specific for each individual. Is what's so amazing to me, is that it's my testimony that God knows every person individually. He knows what they're struggling with and, what they're going through and what is best for them to move forward. So I have found that there's not a single prescription, that God is intimate in that way, which I think is one of the most profound aspects of coming to know God, is to know that he knows you individually as a person, and that he's aware of who you are. This great God of the cosmos that created all that we see and know and is omniscient and omnipotent and all-knowing and loving, and it's like he knows who you are, which is incredible. He knows you like you know your children. I'm firmly convinced that when we step back through the veil into the presence of God, we will meet someone that we are intimately familiar with, who we love deeply and who loves us deeply, and who we know, a face we recognize, a relationship we have built. I have felt that in prayer often, that God knows his children.